Hi, my name is Adele and I'm from Naked.Recovery, and I want to make a video talking a little bit about why life is so hard following a divorce. So one of the analogies that I really give people when they're going through this kind of trauma is it's almost like you have been dropped from a parachute into the Vietnam War and you're just like, what am I doing here? We hear this over and over again when we speak to new clients, is they're in absolute shock, total devastation. Don't know how they got into the situation that they're in. They're horrified, devastated, overwhelmed, terrified. You know, it's a very, very acute series of emotions that people go through. And it's like, imagine landing in a war zone and you've got missiles flying overhead and you don't know what's coming, and you just, all your comfort blankets have been removed and you're suddenly in this very strange land that you didn't ask to be in, and now you've got to survive and you've got to get to a safe place. So what a lot of people do is they kind of find themselves in this situation and they leopard crawl over to a trench and they jump in the trench and, oh my goodness, they've gone from this horror to a place where they can kind of survive a little bit. And that place, sometimes you can find some fellow compatriots in your trench and you can join group therapy and commiserate with other fellow people in the same trench. And there might be a platoon commander in the trench and that's your group therapist. They can talk you through a lot of stuff. A lot of what we find with people that have attended group therapy is they are stuck in that zone of just continually talking about the trauma and they're not working through recovery. So it's not always a positive thing for people to be going through kind of a group environment, because it sometimes lacks the depth that people need to really, really recover. So in that kind of trench warfare analogy that I was using, what Naked.Recovery does and what our company is up to is we're sort of the SAS military people that are leopard crawling across the war zone, and we're peering into the trench going, hi, who wants to get out of here? One at a time, follow me, and you must follow and do exactly as I tell you to do. Why? Because we really believe that trauma recovery requires leadership, a clear, transparent program, and focus steps. You need to understand that divorce is a shame-based identity crisis. So it means that whatever your recovery program is on, it's got to deal with your relationship to failure. It's got to deal with trauma because of the devastation and the horror that a lot of people experience with this kind of shock. And it's got to reshape you as a person, because you need to have a clear identity following the trauma you've just been through. So you can clarify for yourself, who am I now after this experience? If your program is not covering things like that, you are not going to heal completely, because it hasn't actually handled each aspect of the trauma that you're experiencing and going through. The next thing is key is like, life after divorce can be really lonely for people. They feel very isolated because the trauma is not just the change in their own circumstances, but sometimes the change in how people relate to you. I'm a trauma therapist, so I work in various streams of trauma, and divorce, weirdly enough, is the recovery journey is similar to a recovery journey that I go on with people that have been diagnosed with like HIV. Because there's that stigma and shame attached to it. They feel alone, abandoned, isolated. They feel dirty. They feel like they're like tainted goods in a way. And all they're trying to do is to wash themselves clean and get themselves back to a place of acceptance within their communities. And people are really, friends, family, and people are really weird with divorce. Like, I mean, the amount of ostracism that I've seen, particularly from very religious communities and groups, it's truly baffling, and it can make people feel really isolated following that journey. So if you're feeling alone, isolated, abandoned by your community, like some kind of freak that's got a scarlet letter D on your chest, tainted, horrified, devastated, that's what this trauma is all about. And what you really need is that balance within your trauma recovery program of treating yourself like a patient, where you're kind and compassionate and giving yourself self-soothing and self-regulation mechanisms, but also like an athlete. You know, sometimes you've got to hold your own hand and sometimes you've got to kick your own butt. You need to do some things that are actually going to be good for you, even if you don't necessarily want to do them. And some of that stuff will be quitting the alcohol, quitting the sugar, taking better care of yourself, following certain routines, and doing your homework on a daily basis, and following certain steps towards your recovery. So life after divorce can actually be amazing. A lot of our clients that have finished our program say that 2 to 3 years post a divorce is like the best, most productive, most epic times in their lives, because they've harnessed that crisis and really turned it into a catalyst for transformation. That's what we do. So if you want to find out more about our programs and how we can help, be sure to book a clarity call with someone on my team, and we'll tell you about our programs and how we can help you recover.